This is a recording of a private session we did with a client. You can book a virtual or in-person private session at schoolforthedogs.com. And for a limited time, you can get a free 30-minute virtual consult when you buy our Good Dog Training course available at schoolforthedogs.com/courses. The trainer in this session is me, Annie. The client is Kari, who lives in Manhattan with her adolescent rescue dog, Yoshi. Hi.
Hi.
Kari, nice to meet you.
Hi, hello. Hold on, let me just adjust the volume. I don't use Zoom, so I know nothing about this anyway. Okay. Hi.
Hi. So is this Yoshi?
Oh, yeah. I gave him an antler to keep him busy, so he's right behind me.
Oh, yummy antler. Well, that sounds smart. So tell me a little bit about how Yoshi came into your life, and then let's figure out how we can deal with the. Doesn't sound like you're having major issues, but maybe
Not really. Yeah.
maybe a couple things that we can improve upon. So tell me.
Okay, so we adopted him early August. He was an instant foster fail.
And remind me, do you live in New York City?
I'm literally 3 blocks south of School for the Dogs.
Oh, awesome. Okay, and where did you adopt him from?
True North Rescue.
Okay.
So we've always wanted a dog for a long time, but I've never really pulled the trigger. I'd like scroll Pet Finder for a long time and never really decided to, but pandemic happened and I was home a lot and I'm like, I think it's time. And we decided to foster at first because I wasn't really sure or 100% ready to commit to a dog. So I said, let's start fostering. So the rescue that we got him from said that they were getting dogs from Puerto Rico. So that's where he's from.
Mm-hmm.
He's from Puerto Rico. They flew him to Florida. He saw a vet there, and then they loaded them into a truck and ended up in New York. So I picked him out of a bunch of photos. I knew nothing about him. He was 6 months when we got him, and all they told me that he was a shepherd mix. We don't really know what kind of mix he is. I don't know if that matters. I wasn't really keen on finding out right now.
Yeah.
So we got him. He was 6 months. He didn't really have any problems, apart from, of course, within the first week, he was sleeping a lot. He was probably really exhausted. And of course, he was scared. I think he was more scared of us than anything else. So I had very little troubles. I didn't even have to crate train him. He would go into his crate, no problem. Housebreaking took, how long did housebreaking take? I'd say like a couple months, on maybe a little less. A few accidents here and there, but he's pretty fully housebroken now. He's generally a good dog. He's just get really, really excited around new people. So normally, if he was a smaller dog, I wouldn't really make a big deal out of it, but he's going to be a big dog, I'm assuming, and I'd rather stop the jumping situation now. And he's getting really stronger now. Like, he would really yank on the leash when he wants to meet somebody and greet them. So it gets, that's my problem.
And I'm assuming, given the times we're living in, you're probably not having lots of people over to your home. So probably.
Yeah, no. We haven't had anybody here. So it's really people out on the street when we're taking him for a walk. A lot of people, I don't know, maybe, I'm biased. I think he's cute, but everybody seems to want to approach my dog and just kind of like pet him. And he gets super excited every time they do. And he hops up on them and then he has this little whining, whimpering cry that he does. And then he goes down to the floor and then shows their belly. And then he asks for belly rub for every single.
Right. So you mentioned that to me too before. Explain the belly thing.
Yeah, he just reveals his belly to everybody that comes down to pet him. And people assume that they're special, that are like, oh, no, he does it to every single person. He will show his belly and just ask for rubs. And yeah.
So, that is, considered like a submissive behavior, but it's not one that I think is necessarily a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's, probably a gesture of him saying like, hey, I'm no threat. I'm friendly. Let's be friends. And, not a whole lot that's really wrong with that.
Yeah.
But just a couple questions, and then we can address these specific things. What kind of building do you live in? Do you live in like a apartment building? Is there a doorman? Is there a lobby?
There's no doorman. I mean, yes, there's like a little lobby, so to speak, where the mail is, where we wait for the elevator. I live. I
But
don't
are
know.
there like hallways, like you have a bunch of neighbors on your floor
Yes,
kind of thing? Okay.
yes, exactly. So sometimes when we're waiting for the elevator on our floor, and our neighbor comes in and wants to say hi, that's when he starts like wanting to jump and like pulls on the leash and starts hopping up and try to jump them and stuff, and then
Right.
he's all whiny.
Okay. And what is he eating food wise in general? Just like what's his diet?
Oh well, he's on kibble.
Mhm.
Um, I I started him on a certain brand of kibble when we first got him, the same brand that the rescue gave me, but he wasn't responding very well to that because he would. It's just his stomach seemed very sensitive and he was very very itchy. So I switched it. So now he's better. We switched to a different brand and it was fine. But mostly he's been in kibble.
Okay. And you put it like, how does he eat it? Like in a bowl twice a day kind of thing?
Oh no. Yeah, twice a day. We have a variety of different slow feeders. So we have the slow feeder with the outward hound one, the puzzle feeder, and then we have the Babolat, and I have a snuffle mat.
Great.
And yeah.
And do you have treats that you use with him? Anything you found that he particularly likes?
He's very food motivated, so he'll eat anything.
Okay, well, that's good.
He'll eat anything. When it comes to vegetables too. Usually when I'm in the kitchen, he likes anything crunchy. He won't eat a leafy vegetable. I try to give him a spinach. He won't eat spinach, but he'll eat the butt of a lettuce or the butt of a bok choy. Anything crunchy, he's into texture.
He's into texture.
Yeah.
So here's my general suggestion for you on how to deal with his enthusiasm about greeting people. I think for the moment, you should make the rule that outside he doesn't greet people. His entire focus needs to be on you. And if people want to pet him, just say, sorry, no, he's in training. Or
Okay.
I always say he has glaucoma, which
Okay.
it's like a meaningless thing that is like will make people go away.
Right.
He has conjunctivitis. Actually, we even have these like leashed sleeves at the studio, which you can come by and get one if you want, that say give me space.
Okay.
But the main reason for that is because I want to work on it, and I don't think outside with unknown people and the craziness of New York City streets, etc., is probably the best place to be working on it. So I'd rather outside that the thing that you be working on is keeping his focus and attention wholly on you.
Okay.
Because if you think about it, like you are the number one thing that's going to keep him safe outside. And outside everything is less interesting than you because he's with you inside all the time, and outside there's a million people, smells, other dogs, etc., that are more exciting than you. So the good news is he has a good appetite, and it sounds like you're open to feeding him meals in a way that's not just in a bowl. So I would suggest having kind of like breakfasts and dinners on the go. Like every time you're out with him, I would be.
This morning I brought his breakfast in my pocket.
Yeah, I would get pocket or like get a good treat pouch, and it should be like, I mean, a bowl of kibble for a big dog like that, you're gonna need to give him a lot. So like one piece at a time, I would be like, take 2 steps, give a piece of kibble, give it. I mean, see if he'll take the kibble. If you're competing with so much excitement outside, it might not be exciting enough for him to take it outside. You might need to up the ante, but you said he's not that picky and pretty food motivated. So, the kibble could work. You could mix it, do like 10% treats and 90% kibble so that every now and then he gets like a little bit of an extra something. And deliver the treat like where you want him to be. So deliver it like by your knee or, wherever he sort of is in relation to you, and maybe like a little bit behind you. So kind of like the back of your knee, because that's the spot that he's going to end up defaulting to being. And you
Okay.
don't need to even use a clicker. You don't need to use a word. You don't need to use anything. If you're just super reliable about giving him that treat in that spot, like every few feet, he's going to default to being like, when given a choice, I should be I should be right behind Kari, a little bit to the right. And I don't really care if it's the right or the left, but probably better to just stick with one side again, so that he just gets into like that rhythm of knowing that that is like the magic special spot.
Okay.
I also really like using like lickable treats for this kind of thing. We have these like liquid treat dispensers we use a lot at the studio that you can fill with like liverwurst or cream cheese or cheese whiz or peanut butter. There's also bark pouches, which are kind of like baby food
Yeah.
pouches, or the Kalles, Kalles, which is like a fish paste, but that kind of stuff is nice, especially as it gets colder, if you're wearing gloves or whatever. But again, like it should be at like at a pretty good pace. So sometimes I'll pick some sort of marker on the street, like every other crack in the sidewalk or every other bumper of a car or whatever, every time I see a cab, but something that's going to happen pretty frequently so that you remind yourself. Also, I suggest like making sure that you're keeping the leash really loose. I like wearing hands-free. I like using, hands-free leashes, especially when I'm giving a dog a lot of treats, because it's
Yeah,
just going to
I
make.
bought the waist belt from your store actually.
Oh, awesome. Perfect. That like squishy face waist belt, I think. Is that the one you got?
Whatever clips
Oh,
onto your waist.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. That's great. Have you used it?
Yeah, I use
Yeah.
it a lot.
Okay, perfect. Great. Yeah. So use that, and then you'll have your hands free to be giving delicious stuff. Also, when you're trying to get a dog to focus on you outside, I find it can be helpful to walk really fast and to switch directions a lot, so
Yeah.
that your dog is like, gotta keep up with her. And like, I never know where she's going. The whole idea is to keep his focus on you. You want to be, I recently interviewed this dog trainer who talks about like being your dog's superhero and being like selfish, like with your dog's attention. Like you don't want your dog to have attention for anyone else. You want to be like selfish and keep it all for yourself. I'm not saying you can never let people outside say hi to him. I think you could get there. I just think for the moment, let's now talk about how we can practice inside, making sure that he's not out of control with people greeting him. So I would see if you could get some of your neighbors to help out, or if not neighbors, then see if you can have some friends who can come over and even meet you. Like, that's why I was asking about your building, because it could be probably better to do it inside, whether it's in your hallway or like in, it sounds like the downstairs area maybe isn't very big, but whatever you can do to set up situations where someone's going to be approaching him, and then what you're going to do is drop something on the floor. And what we want is for him to start making the association, like, when someone approaches me, really good stuff happens on the ground. So it's just like you want to, and good news is like he's still pretty young. And so I think you can like forge this new association pretty quickly, especially if all of his interactions with new people are going to start in this way, since we're going to be controlling 100% of his interactions outside. Inside, what is it going to look like? Someone's going to come towards him. You're going to reach into your treat pouch where you have some hot dogs. And, you could use a word just to let him know what's going to happen. It could be, find it, or it could be, pineapple. It doesn't really matter what your word is. It could be a whistle, but do something to let him know, like, I'm about to drop treats at my feet, and then drop treats at your feet, regardless of what he's doing. So, if you've gone through the good dog training course already, there's like a lot about creating associations and classical conditioning. This is like pure classical conditioning. So even if he's like jumping up at the person, I don't care. I still just want there to be like hot dogs on the ground. And for this, I would go as high as like hot dogs. Like I would do something like pretty like high value, whatever that means to him.
Yeah.
And then once he has his head down on the ground, eating these things, let the other person who you are, in cahoots with, have them get down and like start delivering treats to him down low, again, on the ground. So you can make sure they're coming with something on them. And it sounds like then he likes to go roll over on the ground, which is a non-jumping behavior.
Yeah.
So let him get that attention at that point. Like part of the reward can be like, now you get all this attention from this person.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're smart to want to control his jumping early on in this way. Jumping is it's not like an inherently like bad behavior. It's just potentially dangerous if you do have a big dog, right? If you have like
especially when he jumps on a kid.
right, like if you have a Maltese, it's not going to be such a big deal, but it's natural for dogs to jump. I mean, first they're excited, but also like they want to smell our butts and our mouths. And so that's why actually having the other person get down low can be helpful. And you can even like, you can get down low too and like hook your finger in his harness or his collar to keep him from jumping up. But at the same time, I want you to be like delivering the delicious stuff down low. And and ideally practicing this daily with different people. Maybe it can be an excuse to call up some friends you haven't seen in a while. Right. The other piece is, what kind of play is he getting with other dogs?
Well, when we take him out, we try, it's really just dog parks. If we can take him to the dog park. We used to take him to the Tompkins Square one, but it was it was dusty, it was dirty.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be crazy. The kind of dogs that are there, depending on the time of day that you go there, can be wild. So we've been taking the one on Stuyvesant.
Do you know about the schoolyard that we run?
Yeah. Yes, I saw the schoolyard. You have a prerequisite though. So I know that I have to do a prereq, like an hour video?
Yeah, well, let me put you in touch with Adam, who runs schoolyard. I think it might be a really nice thing for him. But maybe you can find a similar situation. I mean, basically our schoolyard is like a private dog run that we run. There's a trainer there. We approve all the dogs who are there. They sign up in advance so we can kind of curate the groups. It's just, and it's clean, it's inside, it's like an indoor outdoor area. Like less dusty than you're going to find at the dog park, and also kind of like a closed group of people, a closed group of dogs. And it makes such a difference, in my opinion, to have someone like in charge. Like if only all dog parks had lifeguards.
Yeah, that's
I think like good play with even just one other dog is really gonna help him get his crazies out. I mean, partially I'm guessing he's like jumping on people because like he enjoys the social interaction. That's and true. Jumping on another animal is something that dogs do when they're playing with each other, right? Yep. There's that kind of jumpiness, back and forth. So if he can get some just like really good play in even just a few times a week, I think that'll probably help with his energy level. And that could be one way. But also, maybe like finding someone like, I almost would rather you find one other person to kind of like have like a play pod with than bring him to the dog park, only because like dog parks can be such unknown territories. Like you don't know who's going to be there. You don't know, if it's going to be the right match for him. Another thing you can do though to help him get out some of this energy and also work to fortify the training that hey, when I say pineapple, good stuff happens on the floor, or whatever word you're going to use that means like, hey, go look on the floor. I think you could try doing some really good tug with him. Do you have like a really good like long tug rope?
We have a rope.
Yeah, like long tug rope. I mean, I can even walk you through it right now, or a flirt pole. Actually, I think that leash belt you bought is by the same company that it's by Squishy Face that makes like the flirt poles that we sell. But what it's going to look like, and again, if you want to grab it, we can try this right now. If you also have some really good treats.
Just that.
Okay, that's pretty much like, he's like, hold on, I see something delicious. I see a toy and I possibly am interested, but I also have this antler that's delicious. I want my antler. I don't want this rope toy. I want my antler, Mom.
Exactly. He's like, nope.
Oh.
Not the same. Not the same. Not the
you have some delicious treats on hand?
Let me grab something. Hold on. Bien, do you know where the, oh no, hold on. Let me go.
Okay, take your time.
We have something. If this doesn't work, we'll get you the, oh, there you go.
All right, can you position the camera so that I can see you guys standing up?
Okay,
the
hold
dog,
on.
Maybe.
Hold on.
There we go. Great. Okay. Now I want you to put those treats in your pocket or sort of hidden in your hand. And actually, before we get out the rope toy, let's just practice this. Pick what word you're going to say, find it, or whatever you want. Okay, say find it. I want you to say find it, and then I want you to put a treat at your foot. That's it.
Find it.
He's like, okay, got that. And do the same thing again a few times. And use whatever you have that's like high value to him for this to begin with, I would say.
Like anything, what do you mean high value?
Like is the treat that you're using like super exciting to him or moderately exciting or not much more than a piece of kibble?
Hold on, let me see. I might have some
hot like dogs cheese, hot dogs. Yeah. Like we want to see some, oomph in him. We want him to be like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize we were playing this game this way.
Ooh, okay, don't trip over yourself. All right.
Oh, see, now you see the difference in him?
Yeah.
he was like sauntering up to that treat before, like it was
right?
Like it was whatever, and now he's like spring loaded. Okay, try it again. Just like 3 times, say find it and put the treat on the ground. Just like do that like 3 times in a row.
Find it. Find it. Find it. Okay, wow, okay.
Okay, great. Now I want you to get out that tug toy and see if you can get him interested in tugging with it. And then after like 5 seconds of tug, I want you to say find it and then put the thing on the ground. He's like, hold on, is there still stuff on the ground? Okay.
Much of a tugger?
He's not much of a tugger?
He's not much of a tugger because he's very gentle. Every time we try to play tug with him, he'll gently bite it. And then when we try to tug it, then he'll release because, he's just too gentle.
Oh, he's too gentle. What about his fluffy toys?
Let's see. Want to play with Llama? What do you want to play? Want to play with Llama?
I think you need to be a little bit more exciting. Like tease him with it. You want this? No, you don't want it. You want it? No, you don't want it. You want it? You want it? No, you can't have it. You can't have it. You're not allowed. You're not allowed. It's like, I don't want this. What about his antler?
Okay. Bien, can you pass me the antler? It's in the kitchen. You put it in the kitchen. Hold on.
He's very cute. So how old was he when you got him?
6 months. I mean, we don't really know. I don't know if it's 6 months flat, 6 months and change, 6 months and 3 weeks. So we don't know his exact age. But we would by November 11, he would have been with us for about 3 months now. So he would.
Oh, that's awesome.
9 months. Come here. You want to play with this? Come here. There you go. Come. No.
Oh, there we go. Okay, good. All right. Now, before he lets go of it, try the find it thing.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay, find it. There.
Find it.
Good. And I think he didn't see it.
Do you see it? Right there. Oh, there you go.
There you go. So, suggestion, put it on that yellow triangle or diamond shape on the ground, just so he knows where to find it. All right, again, get him interested. Tease him a little. You want this? You can't have it. It's mine. It's mine. Oh, you want this? Oh, you want it? Oh, yeah. Now I see some bounce in his step. Yeah, good. So this game keep going. Good. Huh?
No. Find it.
So, one thing that you're doing here is you're getting him excited and then teaching him that find it means go look on the ground. So he's excited right now about his antler, not another person, but it's still a state of excitement that you're breaking him out of. He's more interested in the treat though than the
Yeah, he's more interested. He's like, when are you dropping that hot dog?
All right, you know what? Just let him have the antler. Let's see if he chews it on his own for a second.
There you go. Oh, he just dropped
it. He just dropped it right away.
He just dropped it right away because he's like, no, I want what you have in your pocket.
Well, so this game is also a way to practice drop it. Like you could do the same thing.
Drop it though.
What'd you say?
He already knows drop it.
Well, great. So he's going to have no problem doing this game then, because he's going to learn very quickly. Oh, this is like drop it, where I let go of the thing I want. I look away from that person I'm excited about, and something good happens. Because, we're starting out, like I call it criteria 0, right? Like in the beginning, there's no criteria. As soon as a person's approaching, good stuff happens on the ground. It doesn't matter, if he's barking or jumping or whatever. It's going to be someone approaches means good stuff happens on the ground. What you will then be building up to is having some kind of criteria for that behavior. So as you progress, and this could be, next week, you're going to start saying like, oh, you know what? I'm going to wait until you look calmly at that person, and then I'm going to give you a treat on the ground. Mm-hmm. And then that could go up to like, I'm going to wait until you sit, and then the treat's going to come on the ground, and then the person's going to come over and greet you. And that's part of course, that's part of the reward.
So at first I'm going to start it by just dropping it.
Right. And I do want you to say, you don't have to, like I said, outside, I think you can give the treats at such a pace when you're walking him outside that I don't even think you need to have a word or anything, because he's, the cue is just going to be being outside, being near your leg. When I'm outside near Kari's leg, treats appear at her thigh every few minutes, or every few steps. So you don't even really need a word there. The reason I want you to use a word here, like find it or whatever, is because I want you to let him know like, hey, there's this really good thing coming. And it could be a whistle. It could even be a clicker. It's just an indication of like, hey, there's this delicious thing coming your way. So put your head down and look for it. And when we like use a clicker with find it, like that's when sometimes we'll start working it. We'll start working in the clicker when the dog's head actually starts going to the ground. Actually, we have a couple minutes left. Let's just this is a fun exercise I like to do that can help build this behavior of like looking down on the ground, which also, by the way, is like a very calming behavior for a dog. Like we want to encourage like looking down. So have you used a clicker with him at all?
Yep. Yeah, I have one, yes.
Yeah? Okay, grab the clicker.
Okay.
So this is actually teaching a bow, but it's the same thing as teaching them to look down at the ground. So I want you this time, put the treat on the ground. I just want you to click as soon as his head goes down to it. So just drop the treat and now click there. So you're clicking, normally with the clicker, we give the treat, after we click, like click indicates a treat is about to come. Mm-hmm. Here, what we're doing is he's still going to eat the treat after the click, but you're giving the treat first, if that makes sense. Okay, so same thing again, just put the treat down right in front of him. And then you're clicking, good. You're clicking that downward motion. Again, same thing. Good. So do that like 3 or 4 times. Keep going. Good. Now I just want you to say like bow or bow your head, or I used to say show respect with my dog, or whatever you want the cue to be. I want you to say it right like a hair before you put the treat down.
Bow.
Good.
Bow.
Perfect. Good.
Bow.
A few more times.
Bow.
I suggest holding your clicker and your treat in one hand so that he's not so focused on the treats, because I want them to be hidden away. If you're are you right-handed? If you're right-handed, I suggest putting both the clicker and the treats in your left hand and then sort of picking one treat out of your left hand with your right hand.
Hold on. Let me just refill. In? Where'd you put the hot dog? Oh, there it is. Let's refill my hand. Hold on. All right, do that again, Yoshi. Come here. Come. So
Okay.
What was that again?
Clicker and treats in one hand.
Okay, got it.
All right. And then you're picking the treat. Are you right-handed?
Doesn't matter.
Okay. So well, you're going to have them both in one hand, and then your empty hand is going to pick the treat out of that hand.
So
Right,
what well, hold on. So I say the cue.
Yep. Say the cue and then drop the treat and click as he's bowing his head.
Ah.
So the cue comes first.
Okay. Bow.
And now put the treat down.
I got it.
Good. And now good. And same thing again.
Bow.
Good. Good. And again, right away.
Bow.
And put the treat down. Good.
Bow. My timing is off. All right.
It's okay. There's room for sloppiness with this exercise because, we're using the clicker to pinpoint that moment that he bows his head, but we're doing basically the same thing that I was suggesting you do with people when people approach. It's just I'm having you add in the clicker to add in that specificity. But it's not strictly necessary because what he's going to learn is every time she says bow, she drops something on the floor. Now, you're not always going to be dropping something on the floor, but that connection is going to become strong enough that he's going to start bowing his head when you say bow without you putting a treat on the floor. You see what I'm saying?
My question about that is that in your experience, usually how long does it take for it to get to that point where he's just going to associate it immediately?
It's all about having speedy repetitions because you really want to sort of like get into his brain, this like, I look up, I look down, I look up, I look down, I look up, I look down. Like you don't want to allow a lot of room for thinking in between that. So, I mean, you could already try experimenting. He just looked down. I saw him look down. Yeah. So you could say it. I mean, already you could try, say bow.
Bow.
And wait, pause. Okay. All right. This next time, say it and then pause. Don't give the treat until watch his head. I want you to watch his head for any downward motion after you say bow. And that's when you're going to click.
Bow.
Okay. Wait. Move as if you're going to give him a treat.
Do I drop it?
And put it down. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't think he's quite at the point of like, I look up, I look down, I look up, I look down. I would build, you want to build that behavior first without expecting him to look down, without waiting. Like I suggested, let's wait just to see if he would do it. He didn't do it. I think I would suggest spending a couple days of just building the up-down pattern and then work on seeing if you can say the cue and he'll do it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
We always try and get a behavior pretty solid before we add a cue, but sometimes you can start giving the cue a little bit early in my experience, as long as, you're consistent about it, especially if it's something that's not like, you don't want to be giving a cue and then not having your dog do a behavior if it's really important, like that's a failure. Yeah. But in this situation, it's probably not that important for him to bow. And also it's more about just like building the up down behavior, like having the cue to go with it is really just kind of like a bonus in my opinion.
Mhm.
And but it's I think it's a good thing for you guys to practice, because it is reinforcing this behavior of looking down, which is going to help with his greeting of people. um What a cutie. And it's interesting actually teaching, I'll share with you, I did a podcast episode on teaching attention. And
Teaching
teaching,
attention.
yeah, which
I've
is,
been going through your podcast this week though. That's why I
oh,
heard. I heard I listened to the what did I? Yeah, I mean I heard the episode about jumping,
mhm.
and then I heard the episode about I forgot what it was
Oh, I
about.
don't even remember. I'm glad there's an episode about jumping.
There was one, but it was a while ago, and I mean it was the same issues with me, but most of the question that was that on that episode was people coming to the house,
Mhm,
but I mean like
mhm.
I don't have people guess, it's really on the
Right.
street.
Right. But at least you can try and make a slightly more controlled environment. What I was going to say is, and I can, there's an episode on teaching attention using what I call like the magic triangle method, which is really just teaching the opposite of bow. It's teaching them to look up. And I can't remember offhand, but I think in that one, I explain how you could do looking down instead of up. But those are really two nice things I find to teach in conjunction with each other, because you can teach things in pairs often faster than you can teach things on their own. And it keeps the rate of reinforcement high, because you could be rewarding up and then rewarding down and up and down. And you're teaching your dog where you want their head to be in space, and that
Mhm.
certainly can be really useful. Another way that you can work on teaching him to put his head down is to teach him to target something like a Post-it note. Have you done some hand targeting with him?
He can
Yeah.
do touch, and I had that little stick with a little bob.
Awesome. Yeah. So do that, and just put it on the ground, or see if you can teach him, if you can transfer his ability to touch the baton or your hand to
Mhm.
touching just like a Post-it note, and then reward him when he touches his nose to the Post-it note on the ground. Again, that's just like a way to help him figure out like where in space you want his nose to be.
Okay.
But just in summary, bring food on walks. It can be his regular kibble, but if you need something more interesting in than his kibble, try that. Of course, you could always mix it up, a little bit of both. With a treat pouch, I'm so glad you already have the hands-free leash. Keep your walks fast-paced. Don't let other people interact with him. Change directions a lot. See if you can arrange some just like good one-on-one play dates. I can even, I'm trying to, they don't even need a lot of room. But I think a one-on-one play date, in my opinion, would be much better for him, especially as a young dog, than going to the dog park. A lot of dog parks don't have patience for puppies and adolescents, and I don't want an older dog taking out those feelings on him,
Yeah.
because he's still so young and impressionable.
Yeah.
Then see if you can set up some rendezvous with neighbors or friends who can help in like your hallway, or some sort of more controlled environment than on the street. He can still be on the leash, but um, he could still be on the leash, and you're going to practicing putting the treats on the ground, and then you can kneel down and put your finger in his collar to help keep him from jumping up if necessary, and make sure the person's giving him attention when he is down, or
Mhm.
sitting, when he's not jumping up. And then indoors, practice this up and down game, and you can practice the find its as well. But I want you to have like a joystick, basically, with
Mhm.
which you can control like whether his head is up or down. I think that's going to be really helpful for you. And based on what I've just seen in this like little tiny window into his life, I
Mhm.
think if you practice, like if you give this 10 minutes a day, like you're going to see a huge difference in a week, in my opinion. And every meal is an opportunity to practice, and your practice sessions can be 30 seconds. Like they don't have to be really long.
Yeah. No, when I was going through the good dog training, um, I'm still building on a lot of things that
Mhm.
he's learning. Like look and the sit. I mean, he'll do them all here at home, But when it just gets outside the house, then when it's hard to get his attention, especially when I'm telling him to look when he's like seeing a squirrel on the street.
And that's completely understandable. Like I said, you know, no offense, but you're boring outside.
Yeah, no, I'm 100%. I agree.
And you know, if you're listening to podcast episodes, I definitely suggest listening to the one I did a few weeks ago with Dom Hodgson and his whole theory about like you should be a superhero, like you should need to be selfish. Because I honestly never thought about it in that way, but I really like the way that he puts it of like, you know, I think it's a funny way of thinking about it, but it makes sense to me now. Like you want to be selfish of your dog's attention. Like your dog's attention is finite and you want to take as much of it as possible, especially when you're outside. So I think, you know, sort of creating the association of like food, associating food with you when you're outside, like you're just going to get a lot more leverage out of a single meal than you will. I mean, he doesn't need to learn to feel good about, you know, the bowl in the kitchen where he normally gets food. But he does need to, you know, feel super excited about you outside, because outside you turn into like a food dispenser.
Yes. Okay. Can I just ask you one question?
Yeah.
I know we're out of time. I just wanted to understand the prereq for the schoolyard. Woo. What do you call? Usually, what happens in that one session?
You know, let me put you in touch directly with Adam, because I know that they've changed it recently and I don't want to give you wrong information. So I will do that right now. Also, do you know about our day school program?
The day school?
Yeah, with day school, it's a drop-off program that we have nearly every day. It's drop-off is like between 8 and 8:30 and pickup is between 12 and 12:30. And there's a maximum of 6 dogs and there's a minimum of 2 trainers. And they work with the trainers the whole time and they play with each other. So it's just like really good structured training and playtime. And, you know, I think both of those things could be a really good thing for him, even if it's just once a week. Because also like you're going to learn, especially schoolyard. I mean, day school's drop off, but schoolyard, like you're going to learn what good play looks like, you know, because you're there the whole time. They're 30-minute sessions. So yeah, I'm going to get off right now and I will put you in touch with Adam right now. And also with Aaron. But yeah, I think those would be great for him. Yes. And you also, you know, as part of I think you got the Good Dog Training Ultimate Package. So you also get a month of email support. So if you have any questions,
I asked you about that and I never actually got to try that.
Yeah, you can do that whenever you want. Just email me and I will either answer you directly or I'll hook you up with a trainer who will be your point person.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was really great to meet you and he's so cute. Hope this works out well. Let me know if you're able to get any practice videos, send them to me. I'd love to see.
All right. Thank you.
All right, bye.
All right. Bye.